Y'all ready to party again?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Y'all ready to party again?
Yeah. Yeah, I like the webinars. Hold on one second.
Y'all ready to
And Matt's going to drive again. So he'll be here in a few.
Hey Judd, hey everybody.
Hey, Matt, you made it.
He's
Hey!
decided to join.
Yeah. Um, we're almost at 6.
Yeah.
I guess I'll do the intro. Matt's going to drive.
More light in here.
We'll get started in a minute. All right. You ready, Matt?
I think so. Let's
Okay,
do it.
cool. So this is Automate and Optimize Your Messaging in Check Cherry, our latest webinar. And long story short, this is going to be for beginners and advanced. And you basically, Matt's going to show some features and we'll give some tips throughout, kind of how to set up email, SMS, things you might do, best practices, templates, avoiding common pitfalls, that type of stuff. Of course, if you have questions, go ahead and leave them in the chat. Also, feel free to raise your hand. And we'll, specifically we take questions towards the end, over audio if you want. But anytime during, feel free to chat, and I'll sneak them in to Matt. I'll be moderating the chat. So, um, yeah, Matt, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, everybody. So we're here and enjoying a nice rainy day here. If I can find my browser window, share it. Let's see. Okay. And so I guess just to just kind of at a high level, what we're going to go through today. First off, I would say if anybody's completely new to Check Cherry, we did a webinar last week, just kind of very, very beginner, just kind of a high level overview. So I would check that out first. Today we're kind of going to be going through some of the, how to send messages, how to automate messages, how to use templates, that type of thing. Um, so I suppose kind of the simplest, starting point is, that you want to just send somebody a message manually. And so the way Check Cherry does messaging, all of your bookings, all of your proposals, all of your leads, they're all going to have a messages tab where you can go and see what was sent on that. So if you ever just need to quickly send some a message, whether it's your staff, your customer, anybody else, it's going to pre-fill in the customer's email address there, but of course you can put in anything. And, it's pretty simple, subject, message, attachments. We do have a send later feature. So if you want to delay that, maybe you're writing a message tonight and you want to kick it out in the morning or something like that, you can. Um, but yeah, kind of the thing to keep in mind is this messages tab is real helpful, not just for sending messages initially, but for kind of seeing what went out for a booking and just kind of keeping on top of things. So if you're curious, what your customer has seen, once you've got a bunch of automated messages going out to somebody, to your proposals, to your leads, going to that messages tab and either seeing the threaded, which will kind of nest it, nest that top message with a bunch of replies, or the unthreaded, which will just show everything chronologically. Those are real helpful for just kind of, yeah.
If I can hop in, worth noting, this is on a lead, a booking, and a proposal. You can't just send somebody a message without one of those objects in CheckJerry, actually, right? Maybe
Yeah.
appointments as well. So appointment,
Appointments as
but
well.
you kind of have to have a reason, or some type of a some object to attach messages to. So we show this really helpful. Your account comes pre-built with a ton of common sense automations that you can modify from there. But yeah.
And we'll go into some of the text messaging stuff a little bit later, but worth noting that you can also, once your account is set up for text messaging, you can also trigger a text message there too. So that's kind of the simplest possible, you want to send out a message manually.
But I want to save time, Matt. Come on, what's going on? Why would I do my manually?
So of course, CheckSherry has a lot of automation that you can take advantage of. So you'll find your automated messages under the Manage menu, Manage Automated Messages. And the first thing you're going to see is just a bunch of existing automations already in your account. So if you're looking, for something that's already going out, when you first sign up for CheckSherry, if you've been with us for a long time, you're going to see a lot of these are already ready to go in your system. So you don't need to set up, say, a receipt, a payment receipt email, or customer booking confirmation. But if have a message going out to your customers like that, booking confirmation, and you want to edit it, it's really easy to make changes. So um, you can, of course, scroll through, get an idea of what's in there. But I'd recommend, just try the search too. That'll usually bring up, if you're looking for something payment related, just try searching for it. It'll probably come up. That'll search subjects, titles, things like that as well. So let's edit our customer booking confirmation. Because I think if you're getting started with CheckSherry, to me, that's the easiest one to kind of edit and take a look at. So this is the email that gets sent to a customer when they book you. Uh, and by default, we have a pretty generic email. Looks like we've got some filler we've been playing around with on our test account. But in general, it's going to be something like this with just the details of the booking, how much they owe, where the venue is, things like that. But I would recommend, personalizing this a little bit more. This is the first thing your customer is going to see once they book you. So this is a good one to kind of outline your next steps. So things like, what to expect, what you're going to need from them. If you're going to have them pick out, fill out questionnaires, that's a great chance to send them a link to a questionnaire page. Or if you need them to pick designs, this is a great email to do that. And so let's kind of just take a quick look at some of these fields. Starting from the top, description can be literally anything that's just for you. You'll see this what to do section. By default, that's going to be send email, but you can change that to send SMS once your account is set up to do so. You'll see this, selector here will let you change to different types of, basically control, like, when somebody books you, do you want to send this immediately, or do you want to send this a little bit after, say an hour or a day or a week after somebody books you? Using that drop down, you can control that. And then you can even, set it to manual, which basically means it's not going to go out automatically. And that can be useful if you're just kind of testing things out, or you just want to trigger off something manually. And then under conditions, there are different conditions you can set up, depending on the use case. Maybe we'll look at some of these in more details. But, if you're sending out a questionnaire follow-up email, you might only want to send that to people who have an incomplete questionnaire. So recipients, if you want it to go to your client, that's going to be client account. We have some other options, things like staff, admins. You can also just type in an address here. So if I want to send judd@checkcherry.com. I can just type
Hey, don't give my email out. Come on.
and include as many different things as you want. So I'll give my email out too. So
Well, we've seen that people use that. Like, let's say they have somebody they work with specifically for a certain task, like designing a photo booth overlay or doing some setup or something like that. They're they don't need to be in the system as a user of CheckCherry. That can be helpful, I would say.
Exactly.
So that's kind of one of the use cases.
And so, we'll dig into a little bit later some of the different, types of automation you can do with this. But for now, we'll just kind of keep going through these. So you'll also see the sender field. That's going to default to business contact, which is basically your business email, whatever you have listed under manage business settings for your company. Info at or support at CheckCherry, whatever your business-wide email is. That's going to be the default. You can also have changed that to other things though. So like, for instance, if you want emails to come from the employee that's assigned to the booking, you can do that. And so, for instance, sometimes, on the DJ side, maybe the DJ is the one that's going to be working with them on, planning things out or, things like that. So, um, worth keeping in mind on this sender field. So that's who it's going to appear like it's from when that message goes out. And then the other thing is that that's who any replies are going to be sent to. So if I have this set to the employee, then when the customer replies to that email, it's going to come back to that employee. Similar, if I have it set to business contact, then any replies are going to go to my business email. Then we'll show a bunch of, any other staff accounts you have as well. Subject, self-explanatory. Worth mentioning, you can include tokens. We've got some tokens we'll look at in a second. You can include customization tokens in there if you want.
And I think putting the event table in the automated messages makes a lot of sense. It helps with threading on other platforms like Gmail, that type of stuff, makes the subject unique to that client, that type of stuff. So I recommend putting event title in subjects.
Absolutely. And it's probably worth mentioning that, anytime a message goes out to CheckCherry or from CheckCherry, say it goes to your customer, if your customer replies to that, we'll log that reply and then forward it along to you. So you're still going to see that in your Gmail account or wherever, whatever you use for your own email. Those replies are going to get sent along to you. And so as Judd mentioned, sometimes like having a title or something to kind of give some context to that reply is helpful. So it doesn't all just get lumped together in a big list. And then the message, that's the message text that's going to go out. Obviously, you can do, headings and bold and underline, all that type of stuff. You can also do links. So if you want to link to something, you can highlight it and click this link icon, and we can add a link to google.com or something, or to your website, or to some other service that you use.
You can also link to merge tags, which is worth mentioning as well. So for example, the questionnaires link, fill out this questionnaire, the designs link, pick a design here, stuff like that. And that'll be dynamic and specific to the booking, which is handy.
And then we can add photos here as well. So if I click this, it'll let me upload a photo. We can see have that inserted in line here. We can also choose from our media gallery. So any photos that are in your media gallery, you'll be able to see those as well. So that's under manage business settings, media, I think, media gallery. And so that's helpful for anything that's kind of reusable. And you can also you can link to images too. So if I click that image and click the link icon, it'll show my little link down there, and so I can put in questionnaires link and hit save. So lots of options there. And then of course tons of different tokens you can put in here. So if you don't, if you just insert something like this event link here, then we'll just show the full URL, when they click it, which can be, it's not as pretty, but makes it a little bit easy for them to just click and go to. And then over on the right here, you'll see this customize your message panel. And that's where you've got, all kinds of different tokens and things that you can substitute into the email. That can be things like, and these are going to vary based on, on the context. So what's available for a confirmed event, things like invoice date or invoice link, those are going to be different than what is available to a lead that doesn't have any of that information. So, hopefully most of the tokens are pretty self-explanatory. I would say things like the booked date, when it was booked, brand signature is real common. That's going to be your, business-wide signature that you can put in. Client
If
name.
you ever have questions, also, just chat with us from within the app. Remember that. And this list has grown over the years. So I could see us adding some search features and some other enhancements here to make it easier to know what's going on and what's what. Certainly an improvement that I think everybody will benefit from.
Yeah.
But yeah, this list has just kind of gotten bigger and bigger
Longer
and
and longer, yeah.
bigger and bigger.
Yeah. And depending on what, if you have extra questions loaded up in your account, those are going to show up here too. So we've got quite a bit in this demo account that you might have a little bit less in your own. Another thing that's real helpful. So a lot of these links, say this make a payment link, when we substitute that in, if we're sending it to a client, assuming they have access to see things like pricing and make payments, we'll include a token with that link that allows them to basically make a payment without logging in. Similarly, the questionnaire link, they can click that and fill out their questionnaire. So a lot of times customers don't even need to log in to do things in CheckCherry. If you have that payment prompt, they'll go straight to the payment page and be able to make a payment, and no login or anything like that is necessary. Kind of the only time they need to log in specifically is if they're going to change something that affects the pricing. In that case, we want to make sure we have a record of who is making the change. So we do, that's kind of the one time that we do need to log in. And then I guess finally, there are a handful of like attachments as well. So if you include the invoice attachment or the calendar attachment or things like that, those will actually be attached to the email, as a PDF file or as an ICS file as well. So you can drop those tokens in anywhere and they'll just basically show up as attachments. And then finally, you can add tags. Tags are mostly just useful for yourself if you want to group things. So if you've got a bunch of, customer payment emails that you want to tag and make it easy to search on, or, onboarding, or, whatever, kind of however you want to organize those, you can. Sometimes we get kind of requests for to have folders to put emails in. The tags kind of work like folders where you tag it with something, and then you can just narrow things down to just that tag pretty easily.
Hey,
And then,
Matt.
yeah, go ahead.
There's some confusion about what a token is in the chat. Two people kind of like, what's a token? Like, how does this work? Do I need, And so maybe we just take a step back and explain and show the preview feature probably of CheckCherry.
And so we've kind of gone through and we've added these little, we call them tokens, but basically, I guess
variables, right?
basically variables. And
Yeah.
so, if you're sending, imagine somebody books you and you want to include a link to have them make a payment. Obviously, that's going to be different for every single booking. Or if you want to include the date of their event, that's going to be different for every single booking that goes out. And so the way we kind of accommodate that is that when we send out one of these automated messages, we substitute in these variables. And so if I click save and go, it's going to take me to a preview. And it kind of, comes through, gives me a little preview here. It tags all of these little variables or these tokens in blue. And then over on the right-hand side, I can actually preview what that's going to look like with real data. So, over here we added this questions link. And then if I go over here, it's actually going to have a link to that questionnaire that I can click and kind of make sure everything works. This event link is going to get substituted for this page over here. And in the drop down here, you can preview it with different events. Just to clarify, it's just kind of a live preview tool. If you don't have any bookings in your system yet, we can't give you real data. We'll try to give it some sample data, but ideally, maybe add a test booking or something like that to see what it's going to look like with your specific bookings.
And the tokens have a certain syntax to them, we'll add, which is these kind of curly braces or handlebars, if you will,
Mhm.
and two on each side, basically. But the whole list, you just copy and paste what's on that
Yeah, I
right-hand
always just copy
side
them.
and drop it in, and it'll replace that with something specific to the booking, the customer, et cetera. I think one thing to mention is the recipient name. I think that's a good thing to just highlight because we have like client first name and like lead first name and other, but the contact first name, but the recipient first name is a bit smarter about how it goes. Um, so everything will automatically populate with the proposal created. So everything will populate based on the proposal data or the booking data or the lead data. It depends. And you can use the preview to see. And also I'll mention, if you have something specific that you'd like to accomplish, open a chat with us and tell us what you want to do and we can show you how to do it.
Exactly. And so let's go back to this editor again. A few other things we can look at while we're here. You'll see the package selector in the top right. A common thing that we see in CheckCherry is that people have different emails or different things they want to do for different packages. For instance, the email or the email campaign that you want to send your weddings might be very different than what you want to send to a corporate event. And so the packages typically lets you do that. So you can come in, check what what packages this wants to go to. But by default, it's going to go out to everybody. Similarly, there's a brand selector. If you've got multiple brands enabled in your account, you can limit it to just certain brands as well. And then this feature is kind of cool. I think it's called review messages. And by default, when a new booking comes in or when something happens, if you've got an automated email set up for it, that's going to get sent directly to the customer. However, sometimes it's nice to be able to have a chance to review those messages first. And so if you change this to yes, instead of going directly to the customer, it's going to go into kind of a queue, a list where you can take a look at those first. And that's useful for just kind of making sure that things are working as you're expecting, when you're first getting started. It can also be nice to add a little bit of a customization to things. So, for example, if you have a review message that goes out, like say 5 days after your event, you want to have an email that goes out to the customer, asking for a review. Maybe, that gives you a chance to kind of personalize it a little bit and make it seem a little bit less automated, even though it kind of started out as an automated message.
I've got another question here. Andre said, is there a way to send bulk automated emails? I would like to let our past clients know about their referral link.
Mhm.
And the short answer is no, we don't have a mass email or bulk email feature. Never say never, but we really want emails from CheckCherry to get delivered, and sending mass email is something that will probably harm that, frankly.
Yeah, when they see
So
kind of a bulk email come out from your account, they'll tend to think that, oh, you're using, this is coming from a bulk email from like MailChimp or something. And they'll basically start to label all of the booking confirmation, the proposals, and, things like that. Planning emails are just much more likely to end up in a promo folder or a spam folder or something like that. So we recommend just using a separate service, because then that generally won't affect your delivery through.
yeah, there's a ton of great email service providers that do mass email, and very cost effective, free plans, all that stuff. So take a look at that. Dylan says, do we get a notification on the app for those messages, the messages that get queued, I guess he's saying. And so CheckCherry has an iPhone and Android app, and so that's what he's referring to.
I
And I don't
don't.
think we do. I think we send an email
Yeah,
once a day if you have stuff in there, is my understanding.
we currently send out a uh, a daily roundup, I guess, of all the emails in your queue. That said, I mean, I could see us adding a push notification on that. So, I think we're open to add push notifications on the app. let us know if it'd be helpful in
Yeah. Steve Massa says, are there any plans to accept crypto payments? And so no, and it doesn't come up as a feature request ever. I think when crypto was really like newish, I think we got some requests for people that wanted to take crypto, but it has not come up as a feature request from customers at all. So Brady says that I would love push notifications on the app. Yeah, makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, and there's a question too about, if you can download all the client emails. So it's a common question. Under reporting, if you go to sales, reporting, and where's the
Client
client
list.
list, that's the easiest way. That'll have all your emails and just hit download and you're good to go. You can also customize it with things like phone numbers and whatnot if you need to.
I also think it's worth mentioning that if you are going to send mass emails, you want to keep your list warm, right? Like you don't want to just send once a year. You probably want to be sending on a regular basis, and that's going to help your deliverability. That's going to help you get the most value out of the service you're using and sales and all that stuff. So find ways, I guess, and maybe that's another webinar we could cover, but find ways to basically be in touch with your mailing list on a regular basis, once a month, I would say at least, once a quarter at least. If you can't send once a quarter, I mean, I think you're going to get a lot of spam complaints basically because people are going to forget about you.
Exactly.
Another question from Michelle: how do we check what is already automated? As the new users, this message is probably the hardest to understand. How do we know if the questionnaire has been completed? Is the questionnaire automatically added to the proposal? So the questionnaires will be automatically added if you set that up right. We'll mention that. Create a proposal, click on the questionnaire tab, you'll see. If it's not there, chat with us, we can help. And you'll know if it's completed, there's a mark and finalize. And I believe there's an email that gets sent when it's been marked finalized. And if not, you can send one. I think there's a default one. And then early on, we talked about how do you know what's already been automated? If you look at a booking or a proposal or lead, you can see the messages tab and see the emails that went out for that.
Yeah. And I would say, if you go to manage and automated messages, these are the ones that are already set up in your account. A lot of these are just kind of going to go out, they're edge cases, somebody cancels and we'll send out an email. Somebody, makes a payment, we'll send out an email. I would recommend looking at the customer booking confirmation. I think that's the one that I would recommend, taking a look at. For other things, you can read through them. They're pretty self-explanatory. Something like send the business owner a notification when this customer has submitted a form or things like that. So if you read through, they should be pretty self-explanatory. And so you'll kind of see, I guess, a few categories or a few types of things over on the left here. We group them by whether they're bookings, whether they're proposals, whether they're leads. And so there's going to be different messages for those as well. So the emails that you want to go out to a proposal that you're still hoping to close are going to be completely different than what you want to send to a confirmed booking that's already signed and paid. So so depending on what you're working on, if you're specifically concerned with proposals, just click the tab to see those. Similar, your leads are going to be the people that you haven't provided pricing for yet. So you're typically still kind of collecting details, still figuring out what it is you want to do. And so go to that leads tab and that'll have a nice, that'll have all the lead emails that are already configured. But in general, we're going to have kind of the basics in your account. And then if you're looking to do something more complicated, like sending a reminder like 3 days after when something happens, then that would typically be something that you would add. And so once you're ready to actually, you decided, okay, like let's set up a new reminder. I want to have a new automated message go out. Just click that new automated message button and you'll see a bunch of different triggers that we support. Again, they're going to be grouped by bookings, proposals, leads, things like that. I would say the most common ones are toward the top. For your confirmed bookings, most common things that people are going to do is either have an email set out, when somebody books you, shortly after somebody books you, basically based on the booking created time, or you're going to have emails going out in the run up to the event. So you might send out an email 3 days before the event with, information to your staff, or you might have, the day before, a confirmation to the customer, just letting them know you'll be there, things like that. So these are going to be the most common triggers, maybe the payment due date one too. But yeah, those are kind of the most common. And if you click pre-built templates, we're going to have a bunch of kind of pre-built ones for you that you can use. So that can be things like sending the customer a reminder a week after the booking if they haven't yet filled out their questionnaires, or if they've not yet chosen a backdrop, or things like that. So if there's something you're looking to do, I would say kind of, figure out like, okay, when do I want this to go out? Based on after it's booked, or before or after the scheduled date of the event itself. And then check out the templates. Those have a lot of the common use cases covered. And so, like I say, these top few are the most common, but there's a lot of different edge cases that come up in CheckCherry. We have a lot of different things you can do. So that can be things like, when you assign your staff to a booking, you might have different automations for that. Or if you take advantage of the staff request features, we've got triggers for that. Or, if somebody uploads something. So there's lots of different edge cases that come up. But in general, just look at these top couple.
We've got questions in here. So, hey, Dylan, let's keep it on top. He's asking about proposals and accepted. We can cover that towards the end there. But he does have an automatic message or a question.
Yeah.
Do automated proposals, wait, also to automated proposal creating based on an incomplete lead. So in other words, you want to create a proposal when a lead comes in that's incomplete. Do I understand that correctly? And if that's the case,
Yes.
no.
Yeah, that's the case.
No, that's not something, I guess that, tell me more about that. Is that, like, what if we didn't have the data?
So basically, the example is someone comes through the booking engine. They would key in everything else, but they do not complete their like the whole booking with the system.
No,
so based on those information,
I
if it can
understand.
be
Yeah.
automated.
What you can do, there is a link to continue booking. So you can send an incomplete, if you go to leads, there's an incomplete booking, incomplete sign up over there, I guess we call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a link to continue booking. So you could give them a link that drops them right into the spot where they can basically pay. Yeah. Or wherever they were. It's cool because, like, let's just say they stopped before the payment page. They can get dropped into there. But you can't automatically create a proposal.
Yeah, and so you can kind of, like Judd says, that's real helpful for just kind of letting somebody pick up where they left off. And this resume booking link, that'll pre-fill everything. And even if they didn't come through the online booking, this will actually work. It'll still walk them through the booking process and just pre-fill whatever information you have. If they didn't come through online booking, then they'll be starting at the beginning, but all their name and whatever details you've managed to collect will be pre-filled for them, so they can make changes if they need to. But it's a nice way to kind of prompt them to continue your booking, or pick up where you left off, or things like that.
It's also really easy to convert. It's just a click to convert and a click to send. It's like three clicks or something like that. So,
and the reason
it's pretty
we
quick.
don't have a convert a lead to a proposal automatically is ultimately it's just at that point you're kind of, it's just online booking with extra steps, with kind of a chance to that they don't get an email or things like that. So if possible, we try to drive people to use the online booking. I think in other platforms it's common to have like a bunch of emails going back and forth, when our goal is to cut out the busy work, and that that they can just book, like that they don't need to wait for emails. You don't need to follow up with them about like, oh, did you get my email, all that kind of stuff. Like, ideally we want it to be as easy as possible. They can literally do everything without without any work on your part. But But you can, you can of course take that lead, convert it to a proposal, or you can copy that link, manually if you want to just manually copy the link to continue booking, and you can send them a message that way too and say, hey, blah, 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 if you have any questions, and do that manually. So going back to the automated messages, some of the use cases. So for bookings, we kind of looked at that, booking created, scheduled date. Proposals, the main use cases I like for proposals are obviously, a follow-up, a couple follow-ups after a proposal goes out. I think is helpful. You can also in Cherry, proposals can have an expiration date. And I think that's useful, especially if you're holding a date for somebody. But also I think it gives a little bit of urgency, and you can have automated messages go out based on that expiration date. So say your proposals are valid for a week, you might send out an email, a day or two before the expiration saying, hey, just a heads up, your proposal expired or is about to expire. Let me know if
Need an extension, or I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, and also consider using email and text and a combination of it.
Yeah.
And I think a good practice is, to use some of these touch points to just open up the conversation, touch base with the client. It's not going to do the selling for you. Keep it short. Hey, do you have any questions? Are you going to go forward? Something like that, and just see what they say, and then give them the option, of course, to accept the proposal.
And exactly. And with those expirations, you can even have an email go out after it expires and just say, oh, your proposal's expired. Just let me know if you need more time, or if you need me to reopen it. So it's a good excuse to reach out and not, yeah.
Okay,
Proposed date.
so there's another one. Do we have an appointment token? So I guess you can show them with the appointments.
Yeah. So so I guess going down the list real quick, we'll come to appointments in a sec. So the lead creation is real common. I want to send out an email 1 day after a lead comes in, 3 days after, final follow-up, things like that. And then under other, you'll just see kind of some of the other, miscellaneous stuff. So we've got appointments in there, for when you receive an SMS, time off requests, and things like that. So
And when you're on a certain type of message and you click choose, only the tokens that are relevant to that type of object, if you will, are going to show. So here he's got appointment stuff in the right in the tokens. And then Brady, clarification on what I said. I'm not sure I said use email and text. I think use a combination of email and text
SMS.
messages, because not everybody responds to email, not everybody responds to text. I mean, I don't,
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea if you mix it up on some of this stuff to reach them. And I think, specifically on the proposals, I mean, like some people might say no, and I think, hey, you're too expensive, or, it's like, good, okay, let's close that out and move on, or, hey, I can offer a deal, or just, keep moving. But yeah, email or text, yeah.
And so, so on the appointments, so we do have, as you mentioned, as you go to different types, you'll see different tokens available. This is more for like after an appointment is scheduled, when an appointment is created, this will have all the details. We're going to already have this loaded in your account. So, I mean, in most cases, that's going to be sufficient. But I think the question was, how can I include a link to my, to allow somebody to schedule an appointment with me? For now, we don't have a token for that, but what you can do is just use your scheduling link. So if you go to manage, or if you go to click on your name, go to appointment scheduling, you can copy that scheduling link and use that in an automated message. The reason we don't have a token for that is that technically you might have a bunch of different appointment links that are possible. And I'm not quite sure how that should work. So basically, like you might be taking appointments, one of your other staff might be taking appointments, and then with the new feature that's going to come out pretty soon, you'll even be able to have like multiple calendars. So
How's that going to work?
Yeah. So I couldn't figure out how to make a token for that. So
we'll figure it out.
Copy the link and use that. But But you can use that, copy and paste it, or of course use it as a in a link as well.
Yeah.
So
And Brady's asking about texting. Brady, I think we're going to get to texting. I don't know if Matt wants to do it now, but we'll get there and show you kind of how that works.
Yeah.
But I think there's some other stuff to cover in here just in terms of the layout, especially the custom templates, probably worth mentioning.
Yeah. And so I think those are the main automation things. There's always more to be said on it, but different, like I say, I would, if you click choose, that's a good place to kind of see, explore some of the conditions, some of the tokens, things like that. And definitely let us know, like, if you're stuck, just let us know what you're looking to do. And that makes it easy for us to give an answer because it's usually pretty straightforward if as long as we know what you're looking to do.
Yeah.
The problem is everybody runs their business a little different. And so some people are looking to have people fill out questionnaires, and some people are more, sending out lead follow-ups and things like that. So really it just depends on what you're looking to do. So
And just some best practices on automating messages to clients, right? Is just be respectful of your client's inbox. Try to be helpful. I would say, I've seen people really kind of nag via email. I don't think it works very well. If somebody's not responding to via email, maybe you need to pick up the phone and call. That's okay. I think you just want to say like, hey, I'm just trying to be helpful and remind you. Obviously, it might not be their number one priority for the day, and and it is for you to get something done, a questionnaire filled out or something of that nature. But just be respectful of your recipients. It's going to be good for your business. People like doing business with you better. Also, use email as a way to open up the conversation, as opposed to doing your full-on customer service / sales pitching stuff. I think just opening the conversation, helpful touches, timely touches, basically. Yeah.
And I would say to watch out for sending, particularly on the lead side is I think where I see it, where people have, elaborate campaigns to follow up with people. And just keep in mind there is a cost to sending email in terms of your own reputation. If you have a lot of emails that basically email providers look at engagement rates now in order to prioritize things. And so
We have a webinar on deliverability.
And so if you're sending out a lot of emails and nobody's looking at them, they're getting spam, hit delete, that is going to hurt your deliverability of everything. So I would, sometimes less is more on some of these things. So those are kind of the automated messages. We also have the concept of, I guess, message templates. And we'll go to a booking and look at how that works. But with templates, so an automated message is something that's going to go out automatically. When somebody books you, send out a message. 3 days after a lead comes in, send out a message. Templates are going to be things that you send out yourself. They're never going to go out by themselves. And so where that can be useful is things like FAQs. If you constantly get certain types of questions, creating a template for that can be really helpful. Things like, proposal follow-ups, or if you've got, some great information selling your company, maybe you've got a pitch deck, things like that you want to include. Creating templates for that can be a real easy way to kind of automate that. And so it works pretty much the same as the automated messages. You can create a template.
Well, Matt, let's just show them where it's at first.
Yeah.
Let's just
Yep.
show them, because I think that'll make more
So
sense.
if we go to any of our bookings, our proposals, our leads, and we go to a couple ways you can get there. Actually, let's use this quick send because that's the quickest way to do it. So if I click quick send, I'll see all of my templates toward the top and then all my automated messages below. We just added the search, makes it nicer. You can type invoice, you can type, staff, and see just everything that comes up. Or you can go to messages here, create a new message, and you can also choose your templates there. And so if I choose my really boring templates here, it'll basically pre-fill in everything in there. So so let's maybe customize this a little bit more so it looks a little nicer. Let's say thanks for reaching out. Click here to schedule an appointment with. And then I'm going to add my scheduling link here. And so now if I go back to that booking and choose that template, it's going to pre-fill in all that information for me. And so it's just a quick way to avoid kind of some of that, having to do a lot of busy work.
Kind of more of a traditional CRM-ish feature,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so that's helpful. And then where you can edit that is under under that message templates. That's where you'll see all of your existing templates. And once you edit that, it's going to be almost identical to the automated messages. There's just no like when, there's nothing to trigger it to go out by itself. And you're going to have, a lot of tokens still, a lot of different options. So feel free to, play around with that as well. And then if you you can also click this view templates to just jump straight to those templates as well. So sometimes that's a little easier to do. And then the last, I guess, category under those message templates or the automated messages are what we call system templates. And so if we click that, these are going to be a bunch of kind of predefined, bunch of predefined stuff in
Stuff
here.
you can't delete, honestly, is kind of what how it ends up, right?
Basically,
Like, we
exactly.
don't want you deleting these.
We need it to exist. We want you to be able to customize it, but we can't let you delete it. And so an example, to me, the best example of that would be a proposal. So I come in, I've just created a proposal. I've got this quick shortcut, send email. And that's going to have your proposal template there. So it's going to pre-fill it all out, be ready to go. We don't want you to delete that because then the button would break and, and that'd be a problem. So some other common things under designs, there's some automations. But I would say that proposal one is by far the most common that people want to customize and edit.
And I think you can customize just about every message in CheckCherry these days. And we've kind of slowly migrated over. I mean, there might be maybe the password reset you can't customize, I suppose. And I don't think we've ever had a feature request for that. But just about all of them you can customize. And maybe it's time we talk about SMS.
Yeah. So SMS. So if you go to Manage, Business Settings, and then Integrations, we integrate with a service called Twilio for SMS, for text messaging. And a lot of people in the, if you've already got like a photo booth and things like that, it's real common that people already have Twilio accounts for other services. If you're not, just go to twilio.com, sign up. There is a bit of a registration process now in terms of you've got to register your business, with Twilio. Basically what happens is because of all the spam text messaging that goes out, there's a bit more of a registration process and a little bit, more hoops to jump through to be able to send text messaging now. But once you set that account up, then basically what you can do is link it to CheckCherry. We've got some instructions here for how to find that information. Basically, there's some credentials you need to add. And once you add those, then anything that you can do with email, you can now do with text message as well. And so I guess going back to a booking here, because I've linked my Twilio account, I don't only show a new email, I also show a new text message option here. And works about like you'd expect, you can send a recipient and then some content. Similar under my proposals, I can now send an SMS via text to that proposal. And because we're linked to your Twilio account, if they do reply to that, we know that it's associated with your business. We generally know what booking, what proposal it's associated with. So we're able to tie that back, tie that response back to the original message. And yeah, basically, as you, oh, and then I guess under automated messages, if you're creating a new automated message, it's just going to be this first, what to do, send email or send SMS. And when you send an SMS, the text field changes.
There's no subject line. There's no HTML.
No subject. Yep. No bold. It's, text messaging is just text. So you can't do all of the cool stuff. You can't have pretty links, but you can include a link in there. That, it's just gonna invoice link will be kind of a long link that they can click, but no HTML or anything like that is possible.
All right, so we're getting some. So do we have any other stuff? We have some unrelated questions that we can cover.
I think that's, yeah. I think if you have questions that.
Yeah, if anybody has questions. So, somebody's asking if you can show us how to add the terms. So chat with us. We can show you how to add your contract. Or I guess Matt could show real quick. It's under business settings, how to add your contract. Somebody says, can you please show that on the SMS? So on SMS, go to business settings, integrations, and then there's a Twilio button to start there. Chat with us again if you have questions. Sammy, is it possible to send both email and text messages at the same time rather than separately? No, and I wouldn't recommend it. I would say that would be pretty annoying, personally, but I think
technically, I guess you can. It's going to be two automations, but I mean, you can set two automations up that go out when a booking is created. Or when
I think you might annoy customers with stuff like that. I would do an email or a text or do them kind of, stagger them out a little bit. Hey, if the first two emails don't work, we're going to send a text or something like that. The contract, where to add that.
Manage, business settings, and then terms.
Yeah, and chat with us if you have questions. And then Dylan said something along the lines of, I'm looking for his earlier, about proposals. Is there a way to, I think it was along the lines of, is there a way for somebody to decline a package in a proposal? They would send a proposal with multiple packages. And so no, there's not right now. There's two kind of things going on there. One is, over the years, we have had people actually want to decline button on proposals, and we've resisted that. We think putting in a call to action that says don't do business with me is probably not good for sales. You cannot send kind of multiple offers, multiple proposals with one link currently. It's totally something we should add. We think it makes a lot of sense. It comes up common. It's a common thread. I think there's definitely a signal there. Customers want that. We will offer it. It's a little more complicated than one would first think, but absolutely you'll be able to send proposals, but there's no decline kind of package button and no plans to add something like that in there, but we will have multiple proposals with one link option. Yeah.
Yeah, to where, kind of a thing that comes up, oh, send me a link to your silver and your gold package, and then, let them choose. So we'll do something there soon. I think that's real high.
Makes a lot of sense. And it would probably work that if they accept one, then therefore the other ones are taken out. It's not a decline thing.
Exactly.
And so if you have any other questions, feel free to raise hands or chat.
I will mention too, on the proposals, you can add add-ons, and they can add and remove those, assuming your permissions allow it. So that can be, sometimes that's useful, but yeah.
And we got Maddie saying, can you expand the appointment length to be larger than 2 hours, or even better, open it up to no realistic time constraint? And so tell me about the use case there, why you would want somebody to kind of book off your time infinitely. So I think we would have to, even for scheduling purposes, in order to deliver on our promise. I don't see why we couldn't have installation and breakdown scenario. So in other words, the appointment is for breaking down the event. Am I getting that right? Yeah. And so it's not necessarily a use case that we're thinking of with appointments. But I don't see why we couldn't add more time. I don't think anybody's asked for that.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I started out with it being a thing you typed, and then it was kind of like, I don't know, somehow that was annoying. So I made a drop down, but we could extend that. We do need some kind of a link though, because we need to be able to sync with Google Calendar.
Yeah,
which
some
just,
people might.
so we have certain constraints there.
And we should have a better, solution for sometimes the breakup and
I think
setup and stuff.
I think the pickup
That
is
also
something
comes
that
up,
yeah, it's probably a separate feature at some point too with
Yeah, for people to break up. Because also I know different people do it, and it just, we have a big variety of customers, I guess. Everybody from, just one person operating and doing a few gigs a month to large operations that have people dedicated to certain tasks even. So,
but yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I think we had kind of considered it more for like I want to set up a call with somebody or a Zoom or things like that. So
yeah.
good to know that that's something that you're looking to use.
Brady says, we'd love to have one software to rule them all. That's our solution. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, I think, one all-in-one software is popular these days, and I think that, we continue to roll out features, and I think there's, there's some benefits, right, to having a system that kind of works together. Obviously, one of our challenges is everybody runs a business a little bit different, but I don't see why we couldn't have appointments, go longer than 2 hours. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really care.
Yeah.
Frankly. I mean, I think probably it was just put in there at 2 hours, and again, like, I think these are the things where, just using it in a way to, just chat with us if you have questions. But yeah, but I think using it for teardown and setup is kind of outside the scope or the spirit of the feature. So you might kind of run into some snags there, and we should have a better way of doing that. Yeah. Yep. But we can expand it. Yeah, certainly.
Awesome. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's about all I can think of. I would say, definitely chat with us uh, with any
Yeah.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah. And so thanks for coming, everybody. We appreciate it. And always, like I say, chat with us from within your account. We're here to help. We want to hear your feedback and help you guys answer questions, get feature suggestions, all that stuff. It's where Check Cherry is today, it's results of customer feedback. So we really appreciate it. And Matt, great job. Appreciate you driving. And that's kind of our automated message webinar.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.